Hello, thank you for joining me today. I'm Corinne Brock, and you are watching 21 Alive News Plus. I've got a couple of new cases to tell you about today, so let's get into it. First, we've got Carl Moreland. He's charged with rape and accused of sexually assaulting a woman while she was unconscious. The victim told police she was at Moreland's home drinking with him and two of her friends when she felt drunk. She went to lay down and says she woke up to Moreland assaulting her. She got up, saw herself on a computer monitor, and a camera pointed at the bed that she was on. Police were able to obtain a search warrant for Moreland's home and confiscated multiple devices, which led a forensic detective to be able to locate video of the alleged assault where the victim did not appear to be conscious and was unresponsive as the suspect performed sex acts. Another video showed Moreland and the victim's two friends seemingly watching a video of the assault in which Moreland said in part, quote, "I don't care what you do. She knew what was going on. It's proof right there," end quote. Moreland, who has been charged with rape, is set to appear in court for the first time on Friday. He could face up to 16 years in prison if convicted. And here next we have Brandon Palmer. We just got this down this afternoon from Indiana State Police. He is a 27-year-old Warsaw man who is accused of possessing child sexual abuse material. Indiana State Police say they received a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children in November 2024, leading to an investigation into Brandon Palmer. The search warrant was granted for his home and led to police seizing multiple electronic devices. Officers arrested Palmer after the search, and he is currently being held at the Kosciuszko County Jail on a $20,000 bond. No word on when he will appear in court. And now to a warrant that was recently issued, we told you about yesterday. 21-year-old Axel Zeldon Quintanilla has been charged with attempted robbery and attempted robbery with bodily injury. He is accused of stabbing a man in September while trying to take his money. The victim told police that he was stopped at an intersection near Reed Street and McKinney Avenue when the suspect approached his car and asked him for money. The victim tried to grab a $1 bill from his wallet but mistakenly pulled out a $100 bill. The suspect allegedly reached into the car and tried to grab the cash from the victim as well as his car keys. Despite breaking the key while it was in the ignition, the suspect did not make off with any of the victim's belongings. He did, however, manage to stab the victim before fleeing the scene. A warrant was issued for the suspect on Wednesday, and I'm going to keep you updated as the case progresses. And now we will move to a case that I told you about earlier this week. The trial for Ale Hansen has been pushed back due to a scheduling conflict with another trial. Now, if you remember, he's accused of shooting and killing the father of his girlfriend's child, 24-year-old Julian Keith Flowers, at the Willow Creek Crossing apartment complex back in August. Hansen and his girlfriend allegedly told police that he shot Flowers through his girlfriend's apartment door, and a video of the shooting confirmed that version of events, court records say. Hansen is charged with one count of murder, meaning he could face up to 65 years in prison if he is convicted. That trial has been pushed back. Now, we have also told you about Quenisha Gaylor. Now, Quenisha was charged after 39-year-old Anisha Jackson and 28-year-old Torner Doby were killed near the intersection of Smith Street and Hamilton Avenue. Court records say surveillance footage captured the shooting, showing Gaylor, Jackson, and 29-year-old Sean Ford arriving at the home in the area after a confrontation about vandalism at a local beauty salon. Gaylor and Ford allegedly approached the home with Gaylor holding a computer tower and Ford holding a gun. They knocked on the door and asked a small child who answered the door to get an adult. Ford was allegedly attempting to enter the home when it was closed on him. Video captured him yelling at someone in the home to, quote, "Come out or I'm going to paint this expletive up," end quote, several times before walking off of the porch. Gaylor was then seen walking to the side of the home and throwing the computer tower through a window. Doby exited the home with a gun and exchanged gunfire with Ford. He later died at the scene. During an interview with police, Gaylor allegedly said after she threw the computer tower, she got into a car with Jackson and they started driving away when the men began shooting at each other. During that shootout, Jackson was struck by a stray bullet and crashed the car into a nearby home. She later died from those injuries. Ford has allegedly told investigators that things didn't go as planned, saying, quote, "I'm no murderer. I've never killed nobody before. If I have to do time for what I did, I will," end quote. Ford went on trial for murder, felony murder, and attempted burglary charges in October. Jurors only found him not guilty of felony murder in Jackson's death and not guilty of that attempted burglary, but the jurors were hung on the count of murder for Dobie's death, and a second trial has been scheduled for May. Earlier this month, Gaylor pleaded guilty to assisting a criminal. Her initial charges of murder, felony murder, and attempted burglary were dismissed per a plea agreement with prosecutors. The agreement requires her to provide all requested information and assistance in any further investigation of the case, as well as testify truthfully in any criminal or civil proceedings. The plea deal leaves her sentence up to Allen Superior Court Judge David Zent, but calls for her to serve no more than 3 years in prison. And then back to something we were telling you folks about earlier this week as well. We're keeping up with a deadline coming up in a lawsuit against Bishop Luers High School. The lawsuit accuses some of the Catholic high school's officials of covering up child exploitation. 9 young women are suing the school, saying officials were negligent in the handling of male students creating and selling video montages and digital folders with female students' names displayed over explicit pornographic videos and photos from websites like Pornhub. Lawyers for the young women say the defendants failed to act with reasonable care to protect them. Earlier this month, an Allen County judge overseeing the case agreed with attorneys representing both the plaintiffs and the defendants in this case that a gag order is necessary. They were ordered to work together to create a protective order to ensure discretion and confidentiality throughout the process of this lawsuit. Their suggestions for its rules are due on Friday. That's all that I have for you this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me on 21 Alive News Plus. Tune back in at 2:30 to hear more about the winter weather from Caleb Saylor, and 3 to hear about today's top stories from Kara Przuchek. Thank you and have a nice day.